Coming up on this episode.
This has different levels to it.
I was really tough on your business a year ago.
My table doesn't have an umbrella. And so they have no fucking clue what the hell to do.
My initial reaction was like, this guy's a jerk, it's a pandemic, it's raining. This is how we do in the kitchen, grab a piece. Real good.
More customers or higher prices?
Both.
No entrepreneur does it by themselves.
Welcome, welcome.
How are you? Good seeing you. This is gonna be fun. We're here at Modern Steak, and I've got the owner, Stephen Deere, here. Stephen, thank you for joining us today. I think there's an interesting thing. You're almost 3 locations now. 3 locations in a city that is known for its steak.
Absolutely.
And pretty much every restaurant around you and in this city has some form of steak on the menu. So you've got heavy competition. Now, when a heavy competitive industry or business like yours, I think this is a real crucial part to all entrepreneurs and business owners, regardless of what industry they're in, is that 30-second pitch, that elevator pitch that I talk about that says, why do I do what I do? What do I do? And kind of get that engagement of conversation if you're at a cocktail party or you're actually just telling people about you and your business. So I've got my stopwatch here ready.
Pressure, all right.
Take a deep breath, my friend. 30 seconds. Tell us what you do and why.
Yeah, it's very simple. Ranch-specific Alberta beef, respecting local producers and creating a relationship that hasn't been recreated in the city before. And really something that's kind of a little bit cheesy, but we're more like Jay-Z, less like Sinatra. And those are both kings in New York, but we're different kings. And the whole idea of Modern Steak was to be modern. There was so many traditional steakhouses in Calgary, it was time to break the mold and do something different, and that's what we did.
30 seconds, my friend.
Well,
so that was interesting because you caught my attention when you said they're both kings of New York. You're talking about Jay-Z versus Sinatra, and you used the word modern. So help me understand why you chose that direction.
When I bought my first restaurant when I was 26, I've always kind of had in the back of my mind, I want to own a steakhouse. I was very passionate about steak. My dad is a big steak lover, so we've always had steak in the house, and it was always a celebration and family thing. There was an instant connection at a very young age to food and what it does to you emotionally. Food was about family, and the food brought the family together. As my career kind of advanced and I had an opportunity to work for the largest restaurant group in the Caribbean, I was their VP of operations. So I was on a plane almost every single week in the United States, and I was meeting with all these other brands, and I would always go out to dinner, and they would quite often take us to a very nice steakhouse. But these steakhouses were nothing I've ever seen before. They were vibrant. They were playing like cool music. It was like, and I was just like immersed in this environment. I was like so enamored and excited about it. I was like, if I ever go back to Calgary, I'm going to do something like this. And so, I was at STK, and I was like, wow, the vibe and the music and the service style, it's like, it's energetic, it's fun. Carne Vino, before it shut down, I was like, boy, I really like this Italian emphasis on the steakhouse. And then spending time at Preston Napa, which is like that local and respect the land and have partnerships. And so I took these kind of 3 concepts and kind of made them my own and kind of put the Alberta influence on it. And that's how Modern Steak was born.
So you've got this relationship with many businesses, ranchers and so forth. How did you establish that, and what did you learn from there?
In the beginning, local was a buzzword, and I think a lot of people abused it, and it was gray area, like what is local, what is farm to table, etc. And so I saw an opportunity to do it properly. And so how it started initially was working with a couple of different people and then bringing forward all these different steaks. So I probably tasted through 30 to 40 different ranches,
wow,
which is a lot of meat to be eating and tasting. And they are different stories and different qualities. And, we ended up getting down to this group, and the group that we've got to is who we are with today. And then from there, it was that creation of who's behind the business, because I need to go see the property so I know that it's the truth. And so I want to be able to touch it, taste it, feel it kind of idea, because I have to be able to explain it to my team, and I need to be able to explain it to my guests in a manner that they're going to understand with a level of authenticity. So with Michael and Michelle in particular, knowing them, talking to them every day, knowing their side of the business, in COVID, it really solidified the circle. I got to support my people because I want to make sure they make it through. And those people were the most local people. It even comes down to the point of, if I know someone in the business, a friend or something that can do something in my restaurant, whether it be painting or repair, I'm going to go to that guy before I go to someone else. And it's kind of the way of supporting local and doing a little thing that pays off. Because at the end of the day, being that we're a Calgary-based company, Alberta-based company, the money's staying here and it's floating around in here, right?
What would you say for other business owners outside of your industry? How do they forge relationships with suppliers or other businesses?
For me, it's always R&D. It's that research and development piece, and you have to have a goal, and then you got to put in the people, right? So I want to create a hedonistic steak experience with the best local quality beef on the planet. Yeah. How do I do that? Let's bring in all the people and figure it out. So if I'm doing aluminum siding and I know there's a producer in Edmonton and he or she is deemed the best in that business, I'm probably going to want, who's working with them? How do I get a hold of this guy? How do I visit? How do I make that happen? And because it's a selling point, it's a point of differentiation. And when you're saying to that person that you're putting siding on their house is that this is a local product and this is the best product available, great choice that you made, it reinforces that. And then the same thing, because the local guy is going to try to find the local steel. The local steel guy is going to try to work with the local truck guy. And there's been a movement in that area quite a bit. Now, do scales of economy sometimes not work? Do we pay a little bit more for our beef? Yeah, we pay more for our beef because it's also at extreme quality. Yeah. You pick and choose the battles of where you're going to give up a little bit of margin to gain a little bit of margin. And sometimes losing a little bit of margin, you gain it on the volume side. We're probably not the most profitable steakhouse in Calgary, but we're probably the busiest. Yeah. And so the volume mitigates the margin, and that story is based on authenticity and quality.
Comes down to all your research and development.
Exactly. All right, so what I did, I selected us the cowboy ribeye, bone-in ribeye. So this is 20 ounces from our Springvale ranch. Give it a quick rub. Salt from high. You're probably gonna say, oh my God, that's a lot of salt, and it's probably not enough yet. All right, now we let that sit for just a bit. You can probably almost feel the heat from here. This is so hot. So this is our 1800 degree broiler. So this is one of the pillars of our business, which is the technology piece. And what's really cool about this, it basically cooks from top to bottom. This has different levels to it. We're gonna put it on level 2.
How did you find this type of technology?
When I was living in the States, I saw it. A steakhouse that I like used this basically the same type of technology. So it was part of the research thing.
So why is it that your competition doesn't do it this way?
It's expensive as hell. This unit's only a single drawer with a warming. This piece is roughly $18,000. And then the double one we have at Kensington is close to $22,000. So buying a big open grill, you can get it for $4 or $5 grand. So there's equipment costs and maintenance costs. This is one of the things where we invest in for the consistency and quality always over anything else, right? This is confit garlic oil, second salt, pepper.
Oh, looks delicious. Look at that.
See that sizzle. This is how we do in the kitchen. Grab a piece and
all right,
go ahead.
Real good. Oh. Where did this passion come from?
I don't like to use the word passion because passion in this business is so fleeting, because you can get so excited about a concept, so excited about an ingredient, so excited about something, but it is the everyday commitment to being great, because this business is tough. It's a grind, but every day I get up, I'm committed to my business. I'm committed to doing the best I can, committed to my team. I'm committed to these things. I'm not passionate about them. I'm not passionate about my team one day and I hate them the next. Every day I wake up, I'm committed to those things. And that's why I like to use the word commitment over passion.
That's a huge difference in mindset. It's interesting you mentioned that, because in my business, there's a passion to help. There's a passion to, I think what I've caught from you is the commitment of bringing people together.
Yes.
Right, so you're under one roof,
yeah,
with different types of food out there, they can have a great conversation and connection.
Yeah.
What we like to do is how to help our customers and clients and bring them together so they can achieve their goals and their future and so forth. But you're right about it, it's not just passion, because sometimes you're not passionate about everything in the business, but you have that commitment that I have to do this because I'm committed to the overall goal. So I really like that. I think I'm going to steal it, actually. I think that's awesome. I think when you look at the biggest challenges of why some business owners walk away, it's that word commitment.
It is. Running a restaurant is one of the most challenging things because you're working blind. And what I mean by that is a manager or an owner cannot be everywhere. The kitchen is working independently, the servers are working independently, the host has to seat the table, everyone's working independently, but they're all a team. Yeah. It's one of those challenges that, people kind of look at and go, can I do this? Because how do I trust these people? But it comes down to systems, procedure, and training. And again, I'm going to keep using the word commitment. The commitment to making sure your structure and your policy and procedures and your training are all in place. It's not fun. No one gets excited about writing a policy and procedure manual. And that's where it comes back to commitment to be like, I gotta get this done no matter what, because it's gonna be for the betterment of my team and my guest experience by getting this done.
It's interesting you say that, because I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners, and I ask them where their operations manual is. They don't have one.
Yeah.
In the same industry as yours as well.
Yeah.
Nothing written down.
Right.
In my business, we write everything down. We have a process, checklist, everything. And that's because if there is a nice process put in place, things go as a flow, there's less hiccups along the way, you know where things went wrong, you can do a self-audit. There's so many things you can do in that business. But there's times in your industry where you get thrown curveballs, or you get, especially during a time where, like a pandemic, customers are not the nicest ones to you. So
Yes.
I'll come out and I'll say that I was really tough on your business a year ago.
Yep.
I was up on the patio. This is before you had the covering, and you guys were putting out umbrellas, and I was forgotten by staff members.
Yep.
And I posted that.
All right, I'm here at Modern Steak just going over what's happening here. There's a big rainstorm happening here. And what's interesting about this is that now every single table is getting pushed out and getting covered. But what's interesting is my table doesn't have an umbrella. And so they have no fucking clue what the hell to do. So, when you're running a business, look for these unexpected issues. Try to figure out what's the next step, how do you protect your customers. More importantly, what you should be looking for is knowing the policy and procedure when something goes wrong, like weather.
My initial reaction was like, this guy's a jerk, it's a pandemic, it's raining, I just opened this thing up, give me a second. Yeah. And then I turned my ownership brain on, my CEO brain, which was, it doesn't matter. You have an expectation and we didn't meet it. And it doesn't matter if it's a pandemic, it doesn't matter if it's rains, it doesn't matter if I was unprepared, it doesn't matter if that new person wasn't trained. Those are all my fault, and we have to fix it and we have to be better. So you always have a choice when you get a bad review or a bad comment. For the most part, the guest is telling you what they want and what they want you to do. And you can take that in and make it work for your business and that guest, or you can say they don't know what they're talking about and keep doing what you want to do.
What I loved about it was how you responded immediately to me on social media, how you looked at what the problem was, and how you decided to solve that problem. And that's a lot of capital injection you put into that.
Yes. One of the things we added, and I talked to you about, is that we added all this awning, so if there's rain or anything like that, we can cover people off. That was our big purchase late last year.
So you made that change, that commitment that you keep on talking about. And I think no matter what industry a business owner is in, if you are going to be client facing or customer facing, understand what your customers need, and you address that quite well.
As long as you're listening and you're adapting and making the changes that you need to do, but I always say staying within our lane. We play a certain type of music at a certain volume, that's our concept. But if someone come and said to me, can you please turn the music off or turn it down or change it? Yeah. Unfortunately, the answer is no, because everyone else is here for that and that's who we are. So, some things you need to shut out and some things you need to focus on, but you have to be able to take the emotional aspect out of those things and look at them with, a clear mind and decide what you're going to move forward on.
With over 30 years of industry knowledge, what have you learned that you would do differently then from what you know now?
You're gonna laugh at this, I wouldn't open up a steakhouse.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that's mind-blowing because we've had success, we're expanding, but the truth of it is, I was a little naive when I said I want to open up a steakhouse in Calgary. Steakhouses are legacy brands. People are so brand loyal, and some of the steakhouses, you're going on almost 3 generations of people eating there. Yeah. My grandfather took my dad there, my dad took me there, and I'm going to take my children there. And it becomes that thing of family again, food bringing family together. So for us to break through this market, we had to be more creative, more dynamic, and do things that no one else would do. And one of those big things was buying a bull and having our own line of prime grade Alberta beef that no one else can get. Yeah. People always ask me, it's like, oh, if I open up a steakhouse, I was like, I wouldn't do it. And it's not because I'm scared of competition. I just know how hard it is, and I've seen so many people fail at it.
So in my industry, 80% of, we'll call them rookies that come into the business, fail within the first 5 years. It is a literally eat what you kill kind of business. And what you're looking for is not only a experience for your customer, but you have to provide a certain type of knowledge and advantage versus the rest.
Yes.
In both of our businesses, our industries, it is easily known that you could be replaced by another one just like that.
Yeah.
Because people believe a steak is a steak is a steak.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Not even close.
But that's the problem that we have, is that the education of what you taught me in the kitchen,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have never known if I didn't come into your kitchen.
Yeah. In the new restaurant world versus the old restaurant world was if you cook really good food, you're probably going to be pretty successful. Service can be average, atmosphere can be average because we go out for food.
Yep.
Over time, it became food and service. And now it is food, service, and atmosphere. And then the fourth dimension, kind of like the umami idea, is how does it make you feel? Part of the world is, well, we don't want to eat meat, we don't want to do this, we don't feel good about that. They feel good knowing that we actually have a relationship. We know how the animals are treated. Our staff have been to the ranch. They've touched the animals. They've met Premium Our Bowl. They have all these things in their tool belt. So they have a level of authenticity that makes people feel good about spending money in our place because they know who they're supporting and exactly where that's going.
That type of change and the evolution happened also in the coffee industry. From when you can sell, coffee at pennies to the cup to now, some people spend tens to not $20, $30 a cup because of the experience and what it makes that person feel. Do you believe that's happening in other industries as well?
I think so. A story I like to tell actually to really illustrate this point is when we were doing the training for this location, we had a morning training group and a night training group. And the idea was if you have a day job or a night job, you can flip into the other training. And just by luck, the morning training group was younger people, mostly millennials. The second group was all what I call grizzled veteran professional servers. Okay. We had our ranchers come in, so Mike Mutton and Michelle Ball, two of our ranchers, came in and they were explaining what happens at the ranch and the meat and everything, right? The younger group, not one question was about how do I sell this product. All they asked was, how are the animals treated? If they're sick, what do you do? Every question that they had was about animal welfare and feeling good about selling the product. The night group did not ask one question about animal welfare, and it was, how do I sell this? What does it taste like? What's my hook to get the guest to order this? Why is it special? And so the ranchers were amazed, like I was amazed, that this was telling a story about the emotional side of the business, and this story was telling the financial side of the business. And so I see that demographic going through. So we need to be, I hate to say it, all things to all people, but you can do it in this case, meaning if you're sitting with your daughter, she wants to know that the animals are being treated well and she feels good about eating the meal, and you want to know that you're going to get the best steak for the money. And so you can merge those two worlds by what we've done, because the staff feel confident about the product. The guests over 8 years now are actually become advocates of our business, meaning, oh, you got to go to Modern Steak. Oh, you love grass-fed, they have grass-fed. Oh, they have dry age, they have Wagyu, they have this, they have that, and they understand our product. So we've kind of won that battle over a long period of time, that people now are coming here because they can have these different experiences and they can feel good about the experience they're having. And that's really important.
That is important, because when you mention that you get two different types of customers, maybe even from two different generations, their experience is going to come from their own lens, and how they speak about you is going to be based upon their individual experience, unless they're talking about someone they love. So come to this place, my daughter had a great time.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of knowledge about your customer. So when you look back and you go look at some of the lessons you may have learned about the evolution of the customer, what would you say are some of the lessons you've learned?
Oh boy, so let me go back to a story. So 2014, I'm opening up Modern Steak Kensington, and I'm really excited about it. I open up the doors and literally everyone hates it. I have guests yelling at me at the front door, this is not a steakhouse. Oh, they just hate it. And I'm sitting here going, what have I done? I'm like, did I misgauge the market, and what am I doing wrong here? Luckily I did one thing, I stayed calm. I didn't go and start changing everything. I just kind of waited it out, because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong, because I was like, I've been to these places, we did our dry runs, everyone loved it. I have some of my friends are the biggest haters in the world. They like to tell me I suck all the time. I use them as a gauge, and they're even telling me it's good, and they never say anything's good. 3 months later, fighting through, our guests started coming. The ones that were well-traveled, the ones that have been to these type of places, and the ones that wanted these type of experiences. All of a sudden, we became this really successful, busy steakhouse that everyone was buzzing about, but it took us a second to get our marketing right, connecting to those guests that wanted this more modern, fun experience, but still having the best steak of their life. And so what we've seen over time is that putting that effort into that edutainment piece has now made these people advocates and be able to sell what we're doing, but they're becoming more knowledgeable. We've been able to get that education piece going alongside the Food Network and TV shows and the big movement supporting local, understanding what's on your plate, the 100-mile diet, for us we call it, gate to plate. All these things have eventually got the guest to be in a better education position to understand why this steak costs this much and why this steak costs that much.
It's truly understanding the evolution of your customer, because at the beginning, whatever the marketing or whatever brought those individuals into your business, but they said they hated it, wasn't the right demo for you. Your right demo comes in, you're able to now understand what they need. So it's not like you're really open business for everybody. You're not going to sell a $3 steak here.
Correct.
So you are kind of niching out to a certain type of customer, but you have to really understand your customer. How do you get to know what your customer wants before you experience a negative experience?
We always say it's kind of this age-old, it's a restaurant saying, if there's butts in seats, you're doing it right. Meaning, if your restaurant's busy, it's telling you move in that direction. And when all of a sudden, when you're slowing down, your sales standing is declining, you need to move in a different direction.
So this is the fun part here. Okay, so Stephen, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say which one you prefer, this one or that one. Just shout them out. If you want to explore a bit more, I'll ask a bit more questions on that. Okay, more locations in the same city or more cities?
More cities.
How do you like your steak, rare or medium?
Neither. Every steak has an ideal temperature and I eat it to that temperature.
Grow one business or several different businesses?
One.
Modern tech or the old-fashioned way?
Absolutely tech.
Try a new restaurant concept or a brand new industry?
A new industry.
Traditional advertising or social media?
Social media all day.
Business partners or go at it alone?
In my business, I have two very, very, very ultra silent business partners. Like, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
They're like that silent. I do love their input because they're seasoned vets that are mentors to me. But at the end of the day, I gotta say I am a one-man show because I'm a creator, and creative vision with too many cooks in the kitchen mess the vision.
Seasonal excitement or steady inflow of business?
I like to set my watch. I want a clockwork sales. I want to be like, on November 21st, I'm going to do X amount of dollars because I know I'm going to do X amount of dollars.
Because you know it's going to happen. Steady inflow it is. More customers or higher prices?
Both.
If you had to pick one.
More customers, and there's a psychology behind that. Maintaining staff morale and levels and cash flow is butts in seats, and if we had a higher price point and less people here, it would actually be harder to retain staff, and you get the food was good, but it wasn't that busy.
Because you're committed to your team.
Right. We always want to create a vibe and emotional response to all the things that we do, and more customers do that, more money does not create that.
Would you prefer to be disorganized and growing faster, or organized and growing slowly?
God, I can't give you an answer on that one, but I'm going to say this. I just had an interview with a potential new general manager for Southport, and I said, we are growing faster than our structure. In business, that fight of catching those things up together are always difficult. And I believe, to be honest, at the end of the day, even with the best planning, you have to be moving forward because your structure is a plan and it may not fit what you're actually doing versus doing and then maintaining the structure. But I don't mean being miles apart. Yeah. I mean that I want to be this far apart from my growth and structure at all times. I don't want to be this.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
So it's a challenge. It's a tough one.
So there are a lot of people watching this who are in your industry and outside of your industry. So think of it broader than just your own. Let's look at that camera right there. Stephen, give those people top 3 business tips from you.
First is know who you are. I know that I'm a creator builder, I'm not a maintainer, so I have to complement myself with people that have the opposite skill sets of me. Too often we like to get people that think alike, and at the end of the day, all you're getting is more of the same and you're not paying attention to other things. So find people that can counterbalance your weaknesses with their strengths. Number 2, stick to your vision. And stay within that lane of that vision, because it's so easy to get distracted by shiny things in all businesses. It's the newest thing, it's the newest that, or so-and-so's doing this. When we look at our competition, we look at some benchmarking, but we don't look at what they're doing. We try to be in a leadership role at all times with pushing the envelope and get away from flavor of the month. And because if you keep jumping and moving back and forth, you can never move forward, right? 3, I like to use the Oprah Winfrey thing. Sign your own checks. I sign every check in my business. I know where the money is going, and I reconcile the bank account. I know that's one of those things where you're like, well, eventually you'll have a CFO and you'll have this and other people will do that. I don't know if I'll ever relinquish that to some level. I want to know where the money's going and what we're doing with it.
That's a key learning right there. Know where the money's going.
A lot of people with vision or an idea sometimes let the money aspect go to someone else. If you're not a money person, like I said, hire someone that does understand that side of the business on the financial side, but do not let it go. Yeah. Touch it. And that's why I still if Oprah Winfrey is running a multi-billion-dollar corporation and she's signing her checks, then I know I have time to sign my checks.
Stephen, thanks for joining me today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So don't forget to subscribe for more episodes. We'll see you next time.
Modern steak.
2, 1.
It's like a date looking into your eyes.
So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for all the latest episodes.
Did I? Nailed it! One day.
He's a lot more quieter than I am, so I'm probably I'm probably shouting in his microphone.
You're here, we need you here.
Yeah. This is normal voice, right? That's the problem. That's why no one sits beside me normally.